In the wake of both the mass shooting of a synagogue this weekend and the mass mail bombing campaign that was carried out over the past week, many reasonable people are asking for Donald Trump to perhaps not actively encourage more people to commit similar sorts of attacks, and he is bristling at that. Any responsibility whatsoever for someone who looks like the most devoted Trump fan in the history of Trumpness. There's been no acknowledgement that he's even a supporter, and no learning, or certainly no appearance of it. He tweeted this. Remember, by the way, as we read these tweets, that CNN has received multiple suspicious packages and attempted bombs and things like that. He said, there is great anger in our country caused in part by inaccurate and even fraudulent reporting of the news. The fake news media, the true enemy of the people, in caps, must stop the open and obvious hostility and report the news accurately and fairly. That will do much to put out the flame of anger and outrage, and we will then be able to bring all sides together in peace and harmony. Fake news must end. So the thing stopping peace and harmony is fake news. And by the way, when you're talking about the bombing of a media outlet, yelling fake news must end, you could do that differently, because that guy seemed to think that fake news needed to end, but he had a slightly different, slightly more violent way of doing that.
That's today. That's today.
This is after the attempted bombing.
So I mean, so whatever he does that makes that Jared and Ivanka got him to do, right? To talk
shooting
a little tougher regarding, it's all irrelevant. He gets no credit for it. He gets a 0. He gets an F- because of that tweet. It undermines everything.
Where's Hope Hicks? Where is
she? Works at Fox
is she
now.
starting a new makeup line or a clothing line? I hope so. Are they gonna sell it in Nordstrom? I hope so. Here's the thing. Trump and the entire administration are such effing idiots when it comes to the media, and his entire whining is only because they have mishandled the media that were eating out of their hands when he won. When he met with the New York Times and Maggie Haberman and those editors after he won, he could have played them like a violin, but these like half-rate, sophomore badminton team of an administration. I'm sorry, like love badminton and I love sophomores. You guys don't deserve that. But what I'm saying is that any politician worth their salt would be able to play this media, whether it's CNN, whether it's the New York Times. But the fact that he has not been able to is a testament to how. I'm just re-saying the same thing because the establishment media, whether it's CNN or MSNBC, have been waiting. Just give us a bone. Oh, just condemn the attacks, or say you believe that Nazism is bad. Like, just please. And they're still waiting. They're giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, but don't you? I'm not sure I agree with you, except for the dumb part. Like, but if he played them, that requires a different kind. He is not that person. That is not who he's ever been. He's an angry guy. He reacts emotionally. He is unbelievably narcissistic. So inevitably there was going to be criticism, and as soon as there was criticism, there was going to be condemnation. And he can't operate. If he is a more standard president, then he's just a failure, right? This is, and also then he obviously would have made some deals. He would have he would have preserved Obamacare perhaps, right? As it became enormously popular, and would have worked with a handful of senators perhaps to get that done. And he would have been betrayed by many of the people many of the people who voted him would have felt betrayed by him. And that's all he wants. He wants the rallies, he wants that adulation, he wants the sense that he is the leader of a movement.
And therefore the media is actually gonna do their job in this case, and the fact that he's demonizing them only further, I mean, listen, reality is reality, truth is truth, and guess what? The reality has Trump is an idiot and is totally screwing up and is a racist and is a corrupt, like bankrupted however many dozens of times, businessman. Like, that's the reality. All I'm saying is that I feel like instead of demonizing the media, he could have had them eating out of his hand, and he did before the election, and that could have kept on going. And it would have behooved the Republicans, it would have behooved him and his administration. You got Kellyanne Conway and Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who happen to be the two women who, I mean, as much as I hate them, they go to bat for him every single day and are doing a pretty good job. Hope Hicks, another woman who was like, everyone's trying to rein this guy in. And again, the media, please condemn something, or we're waiting for you. Like, we're waiting to validate your presidency. And you're right, he's And I do think narcissism and egoism are akin to idiocy. Like, he's such an idiot.
Well, you're right about one. You're definitely right that if he would occasionally give them the mainstream media, mostly television. I know you mentioned Maggie Haberman, but this is really, to me, mostly television that we're talking about. If he gave them that red meat that they want, I categorically condemn this. And if you feel this way, like John said, if these are your beliefs, I'm not interested in having you as a supporter, that kind of thing. I mean, we would hear, as we heard from 55 different people throughout this first 6 months of his presidency, maybe longer. Well, today is the day Donald Trump became president of the United States. Like, they're so desperate to say, finally, we're seeing a more presidential Donald Trump. Thankfully, that little trope has vanished. But it took a very long time for that to vanish. So you're right, in a sense, that from some, they're so desperate to give them the thing that they want and the thing
that if he were a smarter authoritarian, if he were smarter about what he's trying to push through, if he were a smarter fascist, he would do that. But he's not, and that's for good or bad.
Yeah. I mean, I'm mainly at this point, like, we had the Capitol Gazette shooting, any number of threats against politicians and things like that. Like, after he began demonizing Maxine Waters, she received death threats. The FBI had to investigate. Doesn't stop him from continually attacking her nonstop. A president choosing one congresswoman to repeatedly bring up for some reason, so I just wonder, like, we've caught this guy who sent all these bombs, and again, I want to note that I've never seen so much work being done by regular Americans and those in the right-wing media to do PR for a domestic terrorist. Like, oh, he didn't really mean it. It had flaws in the bombs. He didn't really want to blow anyone up. When has that sort of benefit of the doubt been given to a terrorist before? But they're doing it, and they continue to do it. They're lying about who he was politically. It's extremely obvious. He's been filming himself at rallies. I see on Fox and Friends, they were like, well, sure, he was a Trump supporter, but he's got a criminal history going back to 2002. Like, terrorism only counts if it's your first offense. That's Fox, by the way, saying that. And then the conspiracy theories about them, like photoshopping the stickers and things like that. It's ridiculous. And I'm worried that there are people out there, if there was this guy, then there's 1 or 2 or 7 other people who love Donald Trump who are listening right now to what he is saying. And what message are they receiving? Are they receiving a message that he really hates what this guy in Florida did? That he really opposes it? Is that what they are hearing? I don't think so at all. They are gonna see this new true enemy of the people. He's increased its viciousness a little bit. And I think they continue to think that he secretly kind of supports this stuff. And if they were to do it, he, the domestic terrorist, like with the guy, the congressman who body slammed the reporter, would be Trump's kind of person. I think that there are crazy enough people out there that that's the message they're getting. And they don't have to. As we've said before, Donald Trump could be unambiguous if he wanted to be, but he continues to flirt with this. And I'll remind you again what he said on Friday when asked if he would tone down his rhetoric. He said, you know what, maybe I'll tone it up. So he was threatening us then, and he is carrying through with that today.
Like what you see? Click the subscribe button below and don't forget to ring the bell to never miss another video from the Young Turks.